Juventini, welcome to episode 132 of the All JuveCast, and I'm pumped to have a couple of the boys from the Red Cart Report podcast, Rui and Joe. And I don't know if we're going to hold back on Rui today or not, Joe. What do you think?
No, we shouldn't. Absolutely should not.
Let
Give
him
him every single slap you possibly can, Berto. Seriously. I've had to deal with him talking shit all week, so have to.
So
okay, Joe. All right.
You guys put a wager on this one or anything, or what?
So, wait, does our pizza bet still stand, Rui?
Yeah. So I guess it offsets because you owe me one from last time.
All right, so no one's getting pizza or beer then. All right,
unless if you want to go out twice.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I mean, we owed them one. We got spanked the last time the two teams met. So, yeah, had to get a little payback there. But, no, it's awesome to have you guys on. Let's kick this off with the drama that unfolded before. So, couple days before Sandro gets hit with COVID. And then it's, travel. Nobody really knows what's going to happen in his lineup. Next day, Cuadrado. So we got a couple fullbacks out. That's okay because we got a ton, right? No. Frabota apparently going to get the start there. And all the drama unfolds, and the precedence that was set by Coney when they gave the appeal victory to Napoli is all in question and coming back. And Pirlo shuts it down immediately. Hey, in that presser, nope, we'll find 11 players. We're traveling. I liked it. I like that little backhanded comment there to De Laurentiis and those boys. And, we come match day. The report comes out, says even if they had up to 5 cases, they're traveling. So it's match on. We know where we're going to go. Match day hits. Milan getting a couple cases of their own. So then they end up with no Rebic or Krunic, and they had a long list of injuries. Ibra, Benacer, Salamakers. I think I'm missing somebody else too, Rui.
Yeah, Salamakers, Benacer, Ibrahimovic. Now I can't even remember the other players.
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot of players.
Yeah, it's crazy. Long list. Calabria.
Tonali was out.
Gets hit up to play as a pivot next to Kessié. So we get the lineups. For Juve, I mean, a lot of what we expected other than having to get Frabota in there and always question mark in the midfield. That seems to be the big question mark. So we get Szczesny in goal, Danilo, Bonucci, De Ligt with Chiesa and Frabota as wingbacks, Bentancur, Rabiot, and Ramsey with Dybala and CR7. So Joe, what do you think about our lineup?
I've been rooting for Frabota to get more playing time for a really, really long time. I mean, sure, Sandro is probably the better overall defender, but you gotta give this youth a chance. I think he's really, really talented. And on top of that, I think that Alexandro's just kind of lost motivation for one. And two, he always looks tired whenever he gets on the pitch. So that was reassuring to me. I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said the question mark was the midfield. We just have not been able to find that one consistent midfield lineup that we just constantly run with. So I think that you really emphasized that. I heard a lot of, flack for not including Artur right from the beginning, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think Pirlo was smart later on in the game. I'm sure we'll touch up on that. But I was happy with the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I was as well. Frabota, the thing with me is, I kind of want him to get more minutes, and it was kind of the one reason I was a little iffy about him is just because of his lack of minutes. And then big game. This is an important game for us. And there's a question mark there. Would you play Bernardeschi ahead of him? And that's what a lot of Juventini were calling for. And I probably, honestly, gun in my head, I probably would have pulled the trigger on Berna. He's been good since that break with the Azzurri, but his minutes have gone down, probably because it's transfer window and they want to move him, don't want him to get hurt. I don't know. It sounds like he doesn't want to move anyways. But yeah, Bentancur and Rabiot for me is the issue. I can't see those guys sharing the pitch. They're too like similar. It creates some awkwardness. McKennie would have been a show. McKennie, Bentancur, and Ramsey probably if I had to pick it. But by all means, this was good. And we know Milan was suffering with their starting lineup. Let's get to Milan's. Rui Donnarumma. Dalot, Kerr, Romagnoli, Teo Hernandez, Calabria, and Kessié as the pivots, Castillejo, Çalhanoğlu, Oge, and Leao. Your lineup, man, is basically handcuffed, eh? I think all your other players were like defense-minded, weren't they, on the bench?
Yeah, pretty much, and a lot of youth products as well. We had Colombo and Daniel Maldini coming in after you guys were making your substitutions. We were really limited on reinforcements, and when you go into a game against Juventus, the best team in Italy the last 9 years, you need to have your full starting lineup, and you need to have your tools with you to get the result that you need. And overall, I thought we did pretty well, just kind of making it some sort of a game, getting some opportunities and having some good possessions. But a lot of our own mistakes from our defense, who was mostly there for the most part. I know Calabria had to move to the midfield and we had to settle with Dalot, but Dalot overall played a pretty good game. And, these mistakes can't happen when you're playing against a team like Juventus. But, overall, I was really impressed with how we performed, but it was disappointing nonetheless, because even with all the players that we've been missing the past few weeks, we were still able to get results. And I think that we could have done a little bit better than we did in this game.
Yeah, it was, the score line, let's just put it up here, Joe. We got to start looking at this nice score line here, 3-1. But it for sure could have been a different story. Like,
absolutely.
This game was exactly what I expected, because I thought it was going to be, cagey and tight, and you have a team that can counter very, very well in Milan. They do very, very well at counterattacking. And you have a team whose biggest weakness is the fucking counterattack, which is Juve. So it's just like, this could literally go anyway. And that match literally played out exactly how I thought it would be. Is just like, it could go either way. We need to involve so many players in attack that we open ourselves up huge to the counter. And man, it's crazy to think if Milan, would have had a couple of those other guys, it could have been a different story. But we'll get to all that. We'll get into the match now. Dybala, obviously, everybody's on this kid right now. But a minute in, he's in a prime spot, and defender actually ends up making a big block, huge block, minute in. And then 2 minutes later, 3 minutes, Teo Hernandez with that's, man, so early, such an ugly challenge on Chiesa there with his cleats there. I'm thinking, okay, Bentancur at this point has already given up 2 brutal turnovers. So we're like 5 minutes in. I'm thinking, wow, that's not what you need out of him, because he's going to be getting the ball a ton, because he's essentially playing in Arthur's role.
Yep.
10 minutes. And Hernandez now with a knee in the back of Freddie Church. Leave the boy alone. God, that's ugly. And he's got to get one of those as a yellow. Massimiliano, Rui, one of those, eh? Come on.
Yeah, I think probably the first one.
Yeah.
The second one is you kind of see that
you see it
happens. It happens often, and I think it's just his knee happened to hit his back, but the first one is a little bit more reckless and worthy of a yellow.
Yeah, and I think, like, honestly, like, the only explanation is because that was literally his very first challenge. You probably get a warning, right? Yeah. But then the second one, the knee in the back, you see it a lot, so you probably just call it dead and then let him move on. But still, little much, maybe trying to get in Chiesa's head, but man, it didn't work. That kid was on fire in this one. So 5 minutes later, he absolutely blasts one off the post. off a little scramble, a corner kick. 3 minutes later, we kick it up a notch here. Juve, you can feel them starting to put the squeeze on. And just like this switch at the back, De Ligt over to Danilo. We find Chiesa, who's 1v1 with Hernandez. And he cuts inside, finds Dybala. Dybala actually goes with his backheel pass, and it couldn't even be better if he literally, like, everybody stopped playing and let Dybala roll this thing in front of Chiesa. Right in his path. Hernandez with a front row seat for Freddie Church going 1-0. Buddy, let's hear Rui first on Hernandez. I don't watch enough of Milan, but I know the hype about this kid getting offensively involved and whatnot, but is the defensive aspect where he suffers?
Yeah, I think that's the weaker part of his game. That's something that he needs to work on, and he has. I think this season he's improved a little bit more from last year. And overall, I don't think his defense is as bad as everyone says it is. Last year, he actually managed to have better defensive numbers than Robin Gosens and Alexander Kolarov. And Kolarov is more of a, balanced left back, even though he's past his prime, obviously, but he's still that physical defensive player. But there is weaknesses, and we saw in this game, it wasn't his best defensive performance, and he needs to keep working on it. On his attack, he's phenomenal. The defense, with time, I'm sure he'll get even better and better at it. He's got that physical structure to be a good defensive left back, but it's just going to take a little bit more time. He's still very young, and he's still got a lot of potential to be a lot better than what he is right now.
Yeah. Joe, that goal.
Mwah.
Losing it, man.
Oh,
losing it.
Yes. I mean, that was like that back heel that Dybala made, that was like a FIFA move right there. Like, how often do you see stuff like that? And it was,
yeah, I know. And
like, is the right place, right time. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, the announcers gave a good shout to him just to say, like, in a game like that, to even, start to think about trying to pull something off like that. And it's not like he's got a slouch on him. He's got Romagnoli right next to him, right? Like, right on him. So, yeah, props to him. Chiesa with a beautiful finish. 1-0 up. We get a couple minutes later, and Chiesa again. Taking on Theo Hernandez there and getting a nice cross into Ronaldo, whose shot gets blocked. He actually hammered this thing. But then, just like that, out of nowhere, we're up in their area, get an opportunity, and Milan just turns it right back around. And then through Leao, he literally takes our guys on. We're all kind of sitting back. I'm not sure why. And he just misses with his left footer. I honestly thought the second it left his foot, that's a goal.
Cool.
So we got a little bit lucky there. And this game, it was actually, like, if you were in neutral, unreal to watch. As a fan, insanely nerve-wracking because it was just like back and forth for a while there. The first half was unreal. Chiesa, 2 minutes later, slices right up the middle. He left Romagnoli standing, rips it with his left foot, stopped by Donnarumma. Ronaldo's freaking out to get the ball, but I don't know, man. I'm not going to get upset with Chiesa having a strike from there. Ronaldo was at a pretty bad angle, but I don't know. When you're CR, is there really a bad angle? Like, I don't know. But he was pretty pissed with the kid and let him know that. And then 26th minute, again, Ramsey with a brutal giveaway. And Hoge found Leao, who absolutely drilled this thing. I thought that was a goal for sure. Szczesny makes a huge save. So right off the bat, this match could be like 2-2 already.
Easily.
Like, just insane chances back and forth. And then 30th minute, something that would let some Juventini very happy. Bonucci gets sacked with the ball. The one time he doesn't lead with his ass. One deflects and sacks him. And it's like, yeah, okay.
One part of the match that made us all smile at the same time.
Yeah,
there you go.
Every fan base, both fan bases were smiling.
Yeah. 34th minute, Tech again coming up big. A couple big saves. One would have been a Ramsey own goal. He's just Tech's doing unreal right now. And then 40th minute, So Rabiot's got the ball, pokes it up ahead, and Çalhanoğlu comes in. Don't really see him making an effort for the ball, Rui. And no call.
Yep.
Go up, and they just counter immediately. Leao finds Calabria, who buries a hell of a finish, too, from Calabria. I was expecting VAR. Nothing.
Yeah. So
let's just get on with this. Foul.
Yeah.
Or not. It's foul.
Yeah. It's a foul.
I think so. I've seen I've seen referee. I mean, we've all seen it. Referees tend to let that go sometimes, depending on the position of the foul on the pitch. Usually from outside of the box, they wouldn't call that. But if it's on the middle of the field or semi-middle of the field, where a counterattack and transition occurs, they're going to call that. So in this case, I think it was a foul. I think VAR should have overturned it, but I still don't understand the whole rule about there needs to be clear and obvious what is it? Clear and obvious error from the error. I don't understand that. To me, it's VAR should be, if it's a foul, it's a foul, and then you just call it as that. It shouldn't be a clear and obvious. I'll never understand what that really means. So overall, the whole situation, I think it was a foul and it should have been called because it led to a goal. I can understand if a referee doesn't want to give the free kick from outside of the box. You see the shoulder to shoulder action. You don't want to give just a free kick like that, sure. But when it leads to a transition, you kind of got to call it.
I just don't understand the drop off in VAR, like since it was introduced to now. Like that's the part that's really frustrating because like I used to love it. But like now it seems to like there's this weird drop off and it's not being used in a lot of instances when it should.
Unless it's Morata trying to score a goal, that's my thing.
What's that?
Unless it's Morata trying to score, then then VAR works 100% of the time. That's
out by like a pinky toe or an Adam's apple here, and we're out of goal.
That's it.
I don't know, man. I remember when it was introduced, it seemed pretty solid. Maybe it's because they're trying to reduce the amount of times they go to it. I don't really know, but if there's a goal and there is something that's suspect, I think you automatically have to take a look.
Right.
It's crazy, but nonetheless, we get the equalizer there, 1-1. And nothing really after that. A couple minutes later, Ramsey gets into a prime position and he throws an absolute fucking muffin at the net with his left foot. And he had enough time to take it onto his right. Ramsey's shooting in this match, it just Ramsey in general in this one was so odd because he was always in great positions, but just made a mess of everything. I don't know. He was frustrating, I thought. But we hit the half. It's 1-1. I want to get your guys' take on what you were thinking, what you were feeling at half. Let's start with you, Joe, and Juve. How you felt about Juve's first half?
To be honest, I thought that we really were heading for a draw. I thought that we were leaving ourselves a little bit exposed at the back, and I personally thought that the youthful exuberance of Milan was going to catch up to some of our more fatigued players. So that's exactly where my head was at. I thought we did okay. I thought that we had our chances, and I just didn't think that it would turn into the second half. But those were my initial thoughts.
Yeah, and Rui.
Yeah, going into halftime, there was, it was a seesaw first half. Right off the bat, the first 10 minutes, you could say that both sides were kind of just coming out with their guns blazing, and then we saw Juventus with momentum for 15 to 20 minutes, and then it looked like Milan were going into halftime with the motivation, with the confidence going in. But the one thing that really concerned me was the youth, the inexperienced players that we have on the bench. When throughout the entire season, I mean, even throughout this entire run, the 27 games where we didn't lose in Serie A, Pioli had really his substitutions on point in so many crucial games, where in the second half is where we got our results. and he didn't really have those options. So that was the one thing that really concerned me, and I think it showed. I think there was just not enough experience on the pitch, and we had to rely on too many young players to go up against a much more experienced and a much more quality side that Juventus is. I mean, the only thing that you could say that Juventus had that was not on, or the one thing that Milan had over Juventus was a more experienced coach. But all the weapons were there for Juventus, and we didn't really have anyone to go to really make a difference in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that even from the get-go with the starting lineups. It was pretty much you got to do it with those guys, right? For me, that first half, I actually I liked it. Aside from what we knew was going to happen, which was we'd be exposed to counters, just like you mentioned, Joe. And but outside of that, I felt we did control the majority, and we created quite a bit. And I just felt like, if we keep up with this, eventually we'll take over, and we have those guys that we could bring into the match that we'd have to take advantage of Milan not having that same luxury, right? The weirdest thing with Juve when I watch is that the lack of organization when it comes to the back, and it's probably because I don't know, if it's set up or whatnot, but you will see a lot of the in the last few matches, a lot in this word. Even Danilo will cut across Bonucci to pick players up, and it's almost like they want him hanging back in kind of this zone, but it creates an absolute mess sometimes, especially on counters, because you'll see sometimes neither one of them moves. And I think on that goal, Danilo as well, they were flat-footed, frozen, sitting there. Nobody stepped to anybody. The midfielders even, and this is one thing I've criticized Bentancur for a lot, is his man marking coming back is actually atrocious. It's bad. He's just not picking up on anything or anyone. It's crazy. The only times it seemed really good was when Gigi was back there. But my God, you can hear, in Canada, I can hear Gigi without even watching the damn thing on TV. He's so vocal, man. He's calling out everything. And Tech, I don't think I could tell you what he sounds like. I have no idea, man. So
he's not new. Yeah, he doesn't have that bravado that Gigi does, I guess.
Yeah, but he was big in this one. I'll give him that. As we get to the second half, he kicks it off. Milan kind of started where they let off, getting the edge on opportunities. Tech makes a big save on Dalot there at 47th minute. 55th minute, your son, Joe Delict, with a beautiful cross. Milan couldn't clear it. Ramsey sitting at the back post. If the first one I was talking about was a muffin, I don't even know what the hell this thing was because he got it all wrong, left-footed. Pirlo's, he's got his arms up. It's got to be better. I don't know. Ramsey didn't have his shooting boots on. That's for damn sure. But that's tough when you get the ball in areas like that. You got to at least get it on target. But we didn't have to wait much longer there. 61st minute, Juve working it up the pitch. Ronaldo finds Frabota. Frabota finds Dybala, who's trailing. He slides it over to Chiesa. Chiesa takes his guys on and left-footed as well. Slots home. Romagnoli just couldn't get over to help Hernandez and get the block there. This thing was threaded through a needle. Man, Freddie fucking Church. This kid, he is changing the opinion of many Juventini. Unbelievable. Joe, what were your thoughts? What was your feeling about Chiesa? We were linked with him. It felt like forever before he actually signed with us. And I want to know, where you stood on Chiesa joining Juve.
I'm gonna get so many hate. So much
Berna 2.0.
I honestly thought he was going to be Berna 2.0. I really, really did. And I don't want to say anything. I'm gonna say it. The jury is technically still out. Okay, we're halfway through the season. He's still playing, he's still getting acclimated to Juve. He's still a young kid. He still has a lot to learn and still a lot to develop. And this game just by itself is huge for a player like him. He probably learned so much in this match about himself as a player, about what to do. This is a big match. And to have a performance like this is enormous. So, kudos to him. And, I can only hope for the best from here on out.
Yeah. And this is the thing with Chiesa. The part, I always liked him as a player. I like the drive. I like how direct he is. The energy. Like, it seems like he's got this never-ending tank, right? That he just keeps going and going. I always loved that about him. I never liked his price tag. The deal we ended up getting on him, I think, is actually a good way to do it, though. And there's a lot of incentives in there that build up the pay. He's actually almost I think he's got 6 goals and 5 assists in all competitions for Juve right now, which is actually really good. But the biggest question mark I had when he joined was the fact that we were going to use him as a wing back and that we had this complete different system. Because the whole time previously that I was thinking about Chiesa, I was saying, okay, we play a 4-3-3, slap him up there as one of the wingers, awesome. But when you think about the wing back position and you think there's quite a bit more defensively you got to do, the question marks started to be raised in my team like that. But it's working. Pirlo's system, the wingbacks aren't truly like wingbacks because it's got this weird little hybrid system where we will push more to one side and almost create that winger. And that's kind of what we did. Whereas Verbota was the one in this match where he kind of stayed back a bit. We didn't push too much to that side, and Chiesa was able to go centrally as well as up the flank. So it's a bit different, so it makes it work. But Chiesa's been he's been good. The weird thing was he subbed immediately after this goal.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, okay, what's going on there? And then Dybala comes off.
I wasn't sure about that one either.
Well, and that's just it. We got Kulusevski and McKennie coming in, and Bentancur's on a yellow. He picked up a yellow like right before that goal, a couple minutes before maybe, or like a minute and a half before the goal. So I'm thinking, man, you're going to leave Bentancur in there on a yellow, and you're bringing McKennie in anyways, who's a midfielder. Get Bent out of there. I thought Dybala, keep him in there for a bit. It was really weird, those subs. 69th minute, Bentancur should be out. That's a card.
Mm-hmm.
That challenge, I believe, was on Castillo. If I'm correct, he's got to be out. That and again, Massimiliano Irati here. I have no idea how you don't call that. It's crazy to me. He watched it, he saw it, the play went on, but I don't know.
He was right there.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man.
It's a tough call. It's a tough position to be in when you're Massimiliano, when you're Irati. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name, but that's a tough position, because it's going to change the trajectory of the match, and he's just going to receive so much hate from whoever it is, and it doesn't matter which referee goes into a match against Milan, Juve, Inter, and Milan, or the Derby d'Italia. These referees are always under so much pressure, especially in Italy. So I don't know. I think he should have been sent off, but I think Irati just wanted to keep the game, with no red cards and keep the game close because it was 2-1, and you send a person out with 20 minutes remaining, it could really change the game, and then it could lead up to a lot of controversy. Yeah,
that's man. If that's the case, that's a double-edged sword there, because you almost think like that one's just so obvious. Like you feel like you have to call it. It's an easy one. Every Juve fan I know that I was conversing with during this match, it's like, oh, he's got to be out. Like he's got to be kicked out, right? Nonetheless, man, I don't know how many. Like we ran into this with Pirlo earlier in the season too, Joe. I think he got caught with Rabiot not taking him off, and then he got
Yes, you're correct.
he's got to stop playing with fire there and figure that out. But bad on Benta too. He knew. You saw the look on his face as he's sliding. He's like, "Oh fuck, I'm out." And so lucky for both he and Pirlo. Not to get sent off there. 70th minute. One of these subs, McKennie gets involved immediately. CR7 with a beauty cross to Big Mac there, and Donnarumma with a huge save. Fuck, it's going to be sweet when he joins Juve, eh, Joe?
Not going to happen.
I would love to have him.
Really? Come on. Is it just games by Mino there, or you think?
No, he doesn't want to go anywhere else. I think out of everyone. Between him and Hakan, it's for sure Donnarumma's going to stay, and Hakan, who knows what's going to happen. I think he'll stay too, but he doesn't want to go anywhere else. He loves Milan. He's a Rossonero since, he was born, and he's a ride-to-die Milanista. And they have a good project going on, so it's hard to pass up on that too.
All right. Time will tell. I still say in the black and white.
Yeah. You guys love the Rossoneri, man.
Hey, both teams have done really good deals in the past. So
yeah, that's true. All right. Well, he makes a huge save there. 73rd minute, we get Arthur and Bernardeschi in for Ramsey and Bentancur. And then really we kind of 75th minute here, Kulishevsky, he takes his man on this thing to find Kenny, who slots home 3-1. There you go. I'm sitting at work, losing my shit, fist pumping, yelling. I'm pumped. Seal the deal. Done. Right? Well, no, Milan kind of gets some changes in here. 82nd minute, Conti, Maldini, and Kalulu come in for Milan. Is that enough? Rui, that was not promising subs, eh? In a game you're down.
No. Conti, there's a reason why Conti didn't start initially in this game. So it was a tough substitutions to make, and then Pierre Kalulu has to come in for Kier. You kind of knew that was the end of it. You wanted to rest up Kier for the next match. So if the game was much closer, Kier would have been on for sure, 100%. So
yeah, and then 86th minute, Demiral comes in for Verbota, probably so he doesn't blow a little hissy fit, eh, Joe? We got to get him some minutes, apparently. And then 93rd minute, again, the ref. That's a PK for Milan, in my opinion. I believe it was Rabiot with the challenge there on Raheem there. It's got to be a call. So this ref was shocking, to say the least. But in the end, for me, anyways, I felt the better team had won overall. I thought Juve was decisive when they had to be. I thought they controlled the majority. They just need to clean up that counter defending. But we got 3 goals without CR7 being involved in them, and the young guys looked good. So I was going to take that as positives out of this. Joe, your thoughts? Full time?
I was at work and I was just like, oh my God, this actually happened. It was great. The thing that I was really happy about was 1, Chiesa looked really good. 2, McKennie looked really good. And yeah, I was actually, like you said, I was really surprised that CR7 wasn't. It was a really, really quiet game for him.
He played well.
He was bad,
He played well, but everybody else kind of, like, Chiesa was the star of the show. He was great.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that was part of Milan's plan to just try and neutralize a little bit more CR7, and that allowed some of the other guys to shine a little bit more. I played this one moment in my head again, and that was when Kulu got the ball. There was a some kind of scrap that he was getting in with Kier, and he just bolted forward. I thought that kind of summed up the kind of attitude that we had the whole game. Like, just fucking go for it, just like keep going for it. And that is what happened. And we we came out on top for it.
Yeah. And you talked about it there in your review there that you were surprised. We never got to that when we talked about lineups and whatnot, what we thought, like what the expectations out of it were. Like, I honestly, I call it, I said it'd be 2-1 and then someone will get an insurance one late, 3-1. But I did call Juve winning. Like, so you said you were surprised. Did you not expect the W? Did you think it was going to be a draw, or did you see us drop in it?
These games with Milan lately have always been difficult to call, and usually it's ended up in drama. Like either we've had a penalty or something else, or they've won by a huge margin. You know, those were the last two fixtures that I can remember. I really was not expecting to come out with a W on this one. I really wasn't. I felt like the experience that Pioli has, you know, he would have maybe been able to figure something else out. He's a problem solver, and he has been for Milan for the last few months. He worked wonders with that team. And I thought that maybe Pirlo would be a little bit more naive. I mean, even we talked about it just like a couple of minutes ago, those subs, like who would have thought taking off the guy who, you know, was on a double and a guy who had a great assist and has been playing well, like Dybala and Chiesa, takes them off, and we're all left wondering, like, what is he thinking? Why?
Yeah.
But I think that also speaks to the squad depth that we have, the quality that we were able to put forth.
Yeah.
And that eventually shone through.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, was reported today he asked to be taken off due to some pain he was feeling, but apparently he's going to be okay for the next match. Morata, we probably have to wait until we play Merda to see him back in the lineup. Rui, what was your expectations out of a scoreline? What was your prediction going into it?
I had us winning. Initially, I had us winning 2-0, and then the COVID cases came in, and we were still without key players. Joe and I did a podcast last week with Milan Obsession, and that's where we had our predictions. But things changed in a week, clearly, and we weren't sure at the time if Bennacer was going to come back. You know, I think he's a phenomenal player, one of the best registas in Serie A. And then, you know, you lose a player like Rebic, who's been so crucial to Milan. Yeah, maybe his statistics, this number, assists and goals aren't as high, but he is a guy that's capable of scoring that game-winning goal. He's that guy that presses so much. He can create. He can dish out assists. He wins penalties. He's just an irreplaceable player on this team because of all those qualities that he has. So going in right before the match, I wasn't feeling too good about it because we were just missing too many crucial players. And you go up against a team like Juventus, it's always going to be tough regardless. And then when you're missing the key pieces of the puzzle, it's always an uphill battle. But I really do like how we went out and played. I thought, you know, as you mentioned, in the first half, it could have been 2-2, it could have been 3-2, it could have went almost any way. And that's something that I really appreciate from this team. And I think a lot of that has to do with the maturity of the young players that we have, even though they're so inexperienced. But I think the cast of, Simon Kjaer, Ibrahimovic, and also the experience of Pioli being in Serie A, I think it's really, really changed the mentality of this team, because Milan going into a game against Juventus without their players in the past, this was just, it would have been a cakewalk for you guys. And we actually made it a tougher game than we expected, and what we would have done in the past when we had, the teams that we had.
Yeah. No, and you guys have been doing it, this season, like credit where credit's due. You've been doing it, finding ways, Ibra is out, this guy's out, that guy, it doesn't matter. Like I've been waiting for the drop off. And it's like, just takes us taking you to church basically for that to finally start. Freddie Church. So no, guys, this was good. We're going to get to player ratings, man of the match. So we're not going to do ratings on everybody. And we actually had a really good. I saw a really good conversation on social media, and we'll kind of go that route. But man of the match, I think, for me, even though we got subbed off right after that second, still got to be Chiesa for me. Joe?
Chiesa, Freddie Church.
Yeah, there you go. Rui? It's Chiesa.
Yep, Chiesa.
Unanimous.
Chiesa, for sure.
So the question that I saw that was a really good one is, who's the biggest impact out of the additions to Juve? And what we'll do to get Rui involved too is I want to know a player that's surprised you the most this season from your club. But Joe, out of the new guys, the new faces, and the two big ones that it kept going up against was Chiesa and McKennie.
Knew it. Yep.
Yeah. So, out of your opinion on Juve, who's the bigger impact so far?
So far. That's a really, really tough question because both of them have had their moments to shine.
Come on, Joe, you're American.
I'm Italian American, okay? First of all.
That's true.
So there's that. I'm gonna go with McKennie. Reason being, like all biases aside, like him being American, wanting to support him and whatever. Just because I wasn't expecting what we're getting from him, his work rate, his dribbling is improving, and just the way he's kind of fit himself into this team. I think that he's working really, really well with Pirlo. I was not expecting this level of competency from him. We're really the first big club that he's ever played for. Like, he was at Schalke prior. We got him, and he's just done so well. And I foresee him doing even better. It's just I think for those reasons, I think he gets my edge. That's all.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's exactly who I picked. That's exactly how I answered it. I just said, look, just for the unknown. Like Chiesa, I know what he brings. I know what he's capable of. And I thought, like, the whole time I could see him succeeding with us. But McKennie literally came out of nowhere. Like, none of the transfer gurus even ever mentioned his name. And all of a sudden it was just like, boom, Juventus signs McKennie. It's like, who? Half people are still calling him Mackenzie, for fuck's sakes. And it's like, yeah. But the guy's unreal. Like, he's so well-rounded. Like, that's the part I like about him the best, is that he's great as a ball winner, but he's a good aerial threat. He's got just enough technical ability to be dangerous, like in attack and stuff. He's not scared to shoot. And yeah, he'll get right up there on the goal line if he has to. Like, he's not scared to get involved, and wicked gas tank. So yeah, just for sheer surprise, I guess, I got to say the biggest impact is McKennie. Just also when we look at that position for Juve midfielders, and we've needed a guy like that for at least 3 years, and that's probably being generous.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's got to be him for me. Rui, player that's surprised you the most this season for Milan?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to choose from, but the one that really, like, going into the season, even after we finished last season on such a great form, we went on 11 or 12 games without losing. It was the right back position. It was Davide Calabria. I think this year he's been absolutely sensational on all aspects. Defensively, he was always more of a defensive right back, but getting forward and being consistent and playing up against the best of the best in Serie A, he's just been showing up every single week. And it's just as the season was going on, I was like, all right, when is this guy going to start to slip? When is he going to start to fall off? When is he going to come back to earth? He hasn't. And even in this game, playing out of position, I thought he did pretty well. There were some instances in the game where he was out of position, but I thought he did really well, pressing, winning tackles in the middle of the pitch, and even distributing the ball. He did pretty well. So that it has to be him, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was great in this one. Actually, like I just remember like being surprised because everyone making it sound like, oh man, he's gonna have to slip into the middle or whatnot, but it looked natural. Like it looked fine.
Yeah, outside of the goal, even if he didn't score that goal or if it got called back or whatever, I thought he was probably the best player on the pitch for Milan.
He had a couple other rips too that were pretty dangerous. Tech might have had him covered, but he looked good. He was threatening the whole game through. I can't wait till he joins Juve. He'll look good in the black and white. But no, that's great. Let's get to so Omer here, who's been a guest. Great guy. It's a question for us, Joe, I guess, because he's having a tough time from match to match with Juve, figuring out who should be the locks in the 11. And then his follow-up is like, who would have improved the starting 11 last night? So I guess what we would do is, if everyone's fit, what's your starting 11, Joe?
Oh, man, this is so hard because I even think Pirlo's having a hard time with this, It's
a problem we haven't had in a while, it feels like.
Really?
Because you could always be like, oh, man, our bench felt like shit for probably a couple seasons.
100%. It was.
And now we actually have guys that it's like, okay, you can argue they should be in the starting lineup. So it's a good problem. You would never think that that's a problem, and we probably sound like
spoiled brats
when you look at the roster money we have. But it's true. It's actually true when you just look at the players of quality and what they've been able to produce. Our bench has been a soft spot for a while. Like we've had guys there that be recognized, but when it comes down to production and job done, they just haven't been there for us. And it's been what I think has really hurt us when it comes to the European front.
Oh,
100%. You look at finally when you start playing those bigger clubs, they can go to the bench. They can get those guys. They don't skip a beat. We do, and it's like, holy fuck. Just
I agree 100%. Yeah. But who should be our lock?
Starting 11, do or die. Everybody's fit.
All right. Everybody's fit. Okay. CR7. Duh. All right. Dybala or Morata? That's my hang up. Dybala's been picking it up. He has been, but on his day, Morata's been way better for us. I'll go with Morata for now. I'm gonna get Dybala hate. All right, fine. I'm just gonna go with like a 4-4-2 just because that's how my brain works. Chiesa on the right has to be him. I'm gonna go with McKennie. McKennie definitely deserves a starting spot. He's more than proved that. He's also been effective off the bench, but I would give him a lot of starting minutes myself. But then there's that other midfield spot.
Khedira.
Haven't seen a lot of Artur. Have not seen a lot of Artur, and I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. I don't know. But I like, for the times that, for the moments that I've seen, I really like Rabiot. I do. He has his moments of like sheer stupidity, but he's not nearly as reckless as Bentancur. So for that reason, he gets that edge for me. And then on the left, who would we put on the left? Berna or Kulu? I really like Kulu. I think that he deserves to be up there on the left. He really takes advantage of those counters attacks. And then for the defense, it would just be typical. It would be Sandro, Demiral if he's fit. Screw that snake. Delict and Danilo at right back. I do not trust Cuadrado at all.
And there you go. We got a lot of guys coming in saying, has Chiesa earned the right over Cuadrado? And man, I always get hate for my opinion of Cuadrado, but it's just like it's literally every fucking match for me is an adventure with that guy. It's just like mistake, sick assist. Okay, we scored and all's forgotten, but it's tough, man. Sometimes he just halts the play. Like literally
he really does. Thank you.
Everything. And it's just like, okay, we have the opportunity to put this team under. You stop. They have enough time to like grab a water bottle by the keeper, have a drink, get back in position, set it up, and now Cuadrado is ready to begin this sequence. Whereas Chiesa, you don't get that. It's like boom, boom, boom.
Exactly.
So, I don't know, man. And in this hybrid thing that Pirlo plays, I don't know. Danilo's actually been, I can't even fucking believe I'm saying it, but Danilo's been good this season. Really good. And I'd go with Chiesa over Cuadrado. Kulusevski is an interesting one that you bring up because I feel like he doesn't have a home yet as far as a position goes. Like it's weird. And a lot of people thought it was going to be the other way around. Saw Kulusevski like going to be the breakout star and Chiesa be the one that's struggling. And it's kind of been the roles have been reversed, whereas Chiesa is becoming this go-to, and Kulusevski is the one that's kind of struggling there. And like Rui, from the outside looking in, would you have thought the same, that Kulusevski would be the one kind of taking off and having a better trajectory at Juve than Chiesa?
No, I don't think so. I think Chiesa was the type of player that was more overpriced than overrated. I never really saw Chiesa as someone that was extremely overrated. I never saw him as someone that will be world class, but I thought he would be a player that's going to be very, very good in Serie A and for a top club. And we're looking at him right now, and he's playing really well. And this is not him at his absolute maximum yet. So Kulusevski he really broke out last year. He was really, really good, but him going to a big club like Juventus takes time for such a young player to be that star. Chiesa has a lot of experience as the star player for a team in Serie A, and I think he was more prepared for this challenge than Kulusevski was. That doesn't mean that Kulusevski is not going to be as good as Chiesa. I think he can be better than him, but going into this season, I thought that eventually Chiesa was going to find his way, and I think he's found it, and let's see if he finishes off the season that way.
Yeah. And Joe, are you kind of thinking along the same lines? Were you thinking Chiesa would be the better fit? No.
Nope.
I know you didn't, because you called Berna 2.0.
Nope, I did not. I think I bought into a lot of that, circuits. Like, but think about it. It's a lot of money. A lot of money.
But so was Kulusevski.
Oh, yeah.
They paid a pretty penny for Kulusevski. And the part that's frustrating some Juventini right now is the fact that we had a 4-3-3 system, but we switched coaches and we picked up this player for quite a good sum, and we've completely flipped systems. And then we brought in Chiesa, and it was like, okay, well, we're bringing in another winger. We're kind of stacked with him, and it was like it created this uproar. And now we're looking at Kulusevski, who's struggling to kind of lock down a spot, and it's like, oh man, was this one of these moves where we again just kind of block our rivals from getting them? Did we truly need it? It's just a lot of questions. I think Kulusevski's going to be good. I think it's going to be solid.
Yeah,
he's just adapting still, and I don't know, maybe it's the fact that he's not getting the consistent minutes, because I think he set himself up pretty good there last season where he was playing consistently. And he's not been able to get that so far. So we'll see. On the next question, though, it gets to McKennie and Ramsey. And who do you see better as the attacking mid? Because Arun says that McKennie is. And for me, I'd probably say no, just because of the fact that we need McKennie defensively as well, like quite a bit more. So I'd like to see somebody else more as the attacking mid. I don't know. This is a tough one, but Joe, what do you think?
No, I agree 100% with what you just said. I don't see McKennie as an attacking midfielder. I think we need his work rate and his defensive capabilities to come through. He's a box to box midfielder, and that's just the kind of person that we need. I just don't see him slotting into that attacking midfield role just because he scored more goals than Ramsey so far this season, you know? And I feel like that's the rationale that a lot of people are having. So Ramsey has proven that he can get into good positions. He just couldn't finish this game. Like, he couldn't get a goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
could McKennie do those same things? Maybe. But I think that he's just better at just going from one end of the pitch to the other than Ramsey is.
Man, yeah, like Ramsey is almost like an enigma for me, man, because it's like when he can be this like world class, like unreal attacking mid, but it's like, how many times have we actually seen it? He does a lot of good things when he's out there, but I don't know, man. But when he gives you these flashes, you're just like, oh yeah, automatic lock. Like if he's fit, he's in. But then it's like you get mediocreness for quite some time. So I don't know. He's weird. But McKennie, we need him defensively. Like no doubt, in my opinion. Josh writing in, should we keep Verbota or bring back Pellegrini? Joe.
God, people are asking really good questions
For the rest of the season. So this would be in this window. Do we keep Verbota or do we bring back Pellegrini? What would benefit us more going down the stretch? I never wanted us to loan out Pellegrini.
Me either.
I thought it was ridiculous. And then we had Sandro that was injured for a while, and it was like, oh, okay, at least we didn't get rid of our only other left back. Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I never got that. I never understood that because now we still are short on fullbacks. But I don't know. Shame on me. I haven't really been keeping track of Pellegrini this season, so I don't know exactly how he's been doing. But I've really liked what I've seen from Verbota. I have. I said it at the top of the show. Give the kid more minutes, give him more playing time, and I think that we'll see an improvement on his performances. So, gun to my head, I'll just say Verbota.
So what's the position we should look at? Is it more important to get that fourth striker as a backup, or do we need a playmaker?
Ooh. In your opinion? Backup striker or playmaker? I think we can survive without another striker. I think we do need a playmaker.
Yeah, I agree. Lewis, on this match, how much credit to Pirlo, or was this Milan missing their players? Rui, I have an idea what you're going to answer. What does Pirlo deserve some credit here?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the adjustments that he made in the second half were crucial. And for a quote-unquote inexperienced coach, he made the right choices, the right changes, the right tactical adjustments to win the game. And this was a huge game for Juventus to win. There was so much at stake. And if they didn't come away with 3 points, their Scudetto race, even though it's still early on, was going to be a little bit harder to recover throughout the rest of the season. So there's a little bit of both. I think this was a good coaching performance from him. And I think the last game as well against Udinese was a really good coaching performance as well. So yeah, you have to give credit to him. He made all the right decisions to win the game, and that's what the coach is supposed to do, regardless who they play against or who the other opposing team lines up and who they're missing or whatever. It doesn't matter. You go out and to win the game, and that's what he did. And Milan were without key players, and that's football. That's life. That happens. So you have to make the most of what you have in front of you.
Yeah, and especially this season. I mean, we knew going into it, it was going to be a shit show, basically, and anything can happen with COVID looming there. But Joe, your thoughts on Pirlo and how much credit he should be getting, and just overall your thoughts on Pirlo.
Jury's still out, in my opinion, on Pirlo in general. I think that he's done pretty well for the amount of experience, which is zero, topped the Champions League group, just lost his first match like a few weeks ago. Like, he's made it this far and he just lost one match, that's a pretty good record. Sure, you could say like, he was given the best team and whatever, but still, all that aside, I think he's done a pretty good job. I'm happy with the way things are progressing with him. I just wish that we could nail down a little bit more of what he's trying to accomplish, because we've talked about it, Berto. Like, we're just not sure how this system is developing or turning out. So I'm wondering if some of the players are confused or what have you. But overall, happy with him, and I think he did a fantastic job this game.
Yeah, and I think what Rui touched on with the adjustments too is big as well, because I've criticized him, throughout this point at managing the changes better, the subs, picking up on these moments when you can kind of turn the tide in a match for Juve, and just him not being there. And maybe we were spoiled because even though I wanted Allegri gone towards the end of his tenure, it was something he was really good at. He could change a game based on his changes with personnel and formation. Just being able to watch the game and seeing where to attack, who to put out there to exploit a weakness, right? It's something that Pirlo is going to have to pick up on time. But over these past couple matches, starting to see him be a little more in tune with that and picking it up, which is promising. Also, if we take away that disgusting defeat, it's actually been quite positive, I think. And you could see the growth that's coming. And a lot of it, I think, is this little hybrid thing he's got set up is so dependent on the players. I keep saying it changes. You could totally see it change based on the guys he has out there. And if he has a section where you have two players, it actually makes the whole thing crumble. And you notice it in the midfield, the biggest. Like, and the second he starts putting McKennie outside as a wide player, which he's done a couple times, it hurts everything. The whole right side becomes dead. And we've seen that a couple times. Kulishevsky on the outside with Dybala as dropping down as a link falls apart. The whole system falls apart. So this little system he's got is so dependent on him getting the lineup right and the players right, and then the subs. He's got to keep it all level. But I think he's starting to figure it out, because you're starting to see it. We have to remember, too, there was matches last season. I keep telling people, I go back thinking about these matches, and it actually makes me quite happy with where we are, even if we're frustrated game, because there's fucking matches last season where we didn't get an attempt until 68th or 70th minute. An attempt.
Yep. Very, very true.
It's improving. We should be happier. Pirlo, we're talking about him. Saw a question come up just for fun. What club is he the bigger legend at?
Is this a real question?
It's a real question, Rui.
This is a real question. And for me, this is interesting because I tie CR7 into this too, because there's a lot of Juve fans that took a lot of flack when they said he is not a Juve legend. Because technically, at that point, this was probably his still his first season with us or whatever. They're already calling him a legend. I'm like, no, you need the accomplishments. You need to establish yourself with the club. It's what you do with the club. So I would have to say he's a legend for both clubs. He's an Italian legend, Pirlo. But Milan, he's a bigger legend at Milan.
He won the World Cup while he was at AC Milan. He won 2 Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
I think.
Go ahead, Rui.
Yeah, I think Pirlo really was probably the main character, at least for the first 2-3 seasons at Juventus. And then Juventus got really, really good in terms of competing in Europe. As you know, the last season he was there, you guys went all the way to the final. But I think at Milan, that's where he was at his absolute prime. And he wasn't the center of attention because back then in Serie A, there was just so much quality among the big teams. You had players like Shevchenko and Kaká and Maldini. It's really hard to get past those kind of players. And at Juventus, there was a lot of great players there, but he was like the main guy, I would say. Yeah. Maybe Buffon was ahead of him, right? So I definitely agree that he's a Juventus legend. He played there long enough and he won so many trophies and was very successful there. And above all that, he was arguably the best player throughout those years. So, but to say who's more, he spent more time at Milan. He won a couple of Champions Leagues. He won the World Cup where he was just at like the absolute peak that you can be. So that's where I stand at with Pirlo. Definitely a legend, both clubs, Italian legend, but I think he's more at Milan than Juventus.
If he wins that final with Juve, the first one they see since '96, does it change? Joe, because he was one of our main guys, and he would have been crucial. If we win that, does it change?
If we win that, I think for sure it changes because the amount of time it still is since we've won that trophy. I think that turns the tide.
Do you think it does, Rui? Or no?
No.
Of course.
No, he won 2 Champions Leagues at AC Milan. And he didn't spend enough time at Juventus to surpass what he's accomplished. And the amount of time that he was in his prime at AC Milan, that's also a factor too. He was one of the best midfielders in the world when he was at Milan, as well as Juventus, but at such a long time. And that's where he established his position. In the beginning of his career, no one knew where to put Pirlo. At first, he was a number 10, and yeah, he was good, but he was never as great as he was when he was a pure regista screening the defensive line. So, and that's where it was basically the birth of his legacy was there.
Yeah, but I'm kind of with Joe in the sense that it's been so damn long. Whoever is a key guy at this club, when we get the next one, Joe, there's going to be a statue, not in Turin, outside my fucking house.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
It's been so long, but no, yeah, Milan, we'll give you that one, Rui. Okay, Scudetto race. All right, we're back in it, Joe. Okay, everybody was counting us out. Chesney spoke to it. And he says there's a lot of people that don't want us. And called us dead already, but we're back in it. And Milan, are they going to be able to keep it up? So where do we see this race going? Merda, we know, bounced. They're going to be focusing on Serie A and going hard. Sampdoria, luckily, they only have to face them twice a season. So where do we see this race ending up? Let's say top 4. What do we see? Rui, is Milan going to hold on? Are they going to see it through?
I don't know. I think the next game that we play, looks like Çalhanoğlu is going to be out as well. The next game, the response to a big loss is going to be key. And I think it's going to be a huge sign to what's to come for the rest of the season. So this next game is going to be huge. It's going to be a huge it's gonna make a huge impact on where we're gonna go. So, do I think we're gonna win the Scudetto? I don't know. Going into this season, I was just aiming for top 4. That's what I wanted. I just want Champions League so we can get back into competing and getting that revenue, competing in Serie A. It's one step in the right direction. But now with this huge run that we were on, I started believing it a little bit more and more that it was possible. But this was a game against Juventus that we needed to walk away with something, and we weren't able to. And now the race is back on for you guys. And Inter are right there. They're only focusing on Serie A. They have so much talent. They have an experienced coach. It's going to be tough to beat them. And then you guys are possibly back, and if you guys are at your best, it's going to be tough as well. So I'm not going to make any expectations that we're going to win. All I want is top 4, and that's my expectation.
Yeah, and I think they'll be there come the end. I could see that for sure. Joe, your thoughts on the race? What are you thinking top 4?
It's not over till the fat lady sings, is what I'm saying. You know, you can never, ever, ever count us out. Ever. Yeah. No. And people have made that mistake before. So we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there, whether it's just in the top 4 or if we win the 10th. I think we can do it. It really all depends on, like what Rui said. Their response after this game is going to be very, very key. Will cracks start to show? You know, will they start to trip up? Will those absences really take their toll? And although, like, if the answer is yes to all of those questions, I don't think we'll see them winning a Scudetto. I think we will see them in the top 4. Yeah. I feel like one team that no one's really talking about is AS Roma and how well that they've been doing. They've just been pouring in goals. They're kind of just like a dark horse. I'm kind of actually amazed that we tied them, you know, like just because they've been like one game they'll score 1 million goals and then another game they'll
you like, talk about exploiting how weak we are on counters. Roma just destroyed us. I don't know how we didn't lose that match.
Exactly. So like we're fortunate for that one. And like you said, Merda, they have just this league to focus on. They are dangerous. We can't deny that. We need them to obviously lose more games, and maybe that could happen. Maybe that Merda mentality will come through, and just they'll botch the last few games of the season. But if you asked me, like the top 4 teams at the end of the season, it's going. I think I'm not going to regret saying this: Juve, Milan, Inter, and then Roma. I think we can make that climb.
I'll say the same, but I'll throw Napoli in there because Roma, every single year, they kind of just, you know, kind of prove that they are overrated. So,
I mean, that's fair.
And I think they are. I really do think they are. I don't think they're as great as we think. They have a great attack, and when they're on, but I just don't really rate them as highly.
Napoli's a more talented team. Yeah. I think you're right.
I'm thinking, the same. With Napoli in there. It's 2 and 3. You could probably flip. I think it's going to be tight the whole way through.
It's going to be tight.
There's not going to be many points separating 1 to 3 for sure. Might be a little bit of room from 3rd to 4th, but it's going to be tight as hell. The one thing I feel okay about is that it is somewhat in Juve's hands because we have to play all these clubs, so it's really it's up to us. So one thing's for sure, it's amazing to see. It's great to see. Yeah. And when was the last time this match we're reviewing, Juve Milan, was like had this hype around it? It's been a while.
It's been a while. It has been a while,
and it's beautiful. It's amazing, man. It's great for Serie A, and it's been a while, and it's nice. All the banter and bullshit aside, the league needs it, man. They need the Milan clubs up near the top, Juve in there, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Last and certainly not least, those of you that don't know, but Rui is also a supporter of Porto, so it's really just fueling this whole friends off thing with Joe and him. This is amazing, but what the hell? We're just so many derbies for you guys this year.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So like, let's make it like an all JuveCast exclusive, but maybe we put like a little wager on there. Maybe it's like a Twitter Avi's got to change for a week or something, but maybe we lay something on the line here.
Yeah, what do you say, Rui?
I don't know.
What are you willing to lose?
I don't know. Maybe Alberto can make a poll. He can have all the options, and he can make a poll, and then everyone can vote on it, and your listeners or your viewers can make the choice for us.
I don't know. Actually, yeah, I second that. That sounds like a good idea.
I think that's brave, personally, but yeah, let's do it. So
you gotta be nonpartisan, though, Alberto.
Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, drop the comments in. Let's come up with something fun that we could put a wager on this one. Guys, this has been an absolute blast having you on. Loved covering this. Rui, we're pretty easy on you. But
you guys are great.
Again, I really appreciate both you taking the time and joining me on the pod. Hopefully not the last time too. Maybe we'll get together for a Champions League one with Porto too. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back this weekend after our match versus Sassuolo with another great guest. And as always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.
Fino alla fine.
Ciao.